Photosynthesis is the process of converting light energy into sugar and glucose by plants. The reactants of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, and the products are glucose and oxygen. Water goes into the chloroplast through the roots osmosis, the active transport of minerals, and travels up the xylem. And carbon dioxide gets through the plants by entering the stomata on the bottom of the leaf. The first process of photosynthesis is the light-dependent reactions, and the second process, the Calvin cycles, also known as light-independent. Once upon a time, inside a plant, inside the mesophyll layer, inside the chloroplast, inside the thylakoid, lived an electron named Edward Cullen the Electron. He was a very lazy electron, and he stayed in the photosystem too all day, combing his hair and trying to look good. And one day a ray of light shone in, and then he began to sparkle, and he got really hyper. He didn't want other people to see that he was sparkling, so he started running around and knocking things over, and he knocked over 2 glasses of water, which split into the parts of electrons, protons, and oxygen. Now that Edward had other electron friends, they decided they wanted to go to a party. So they went to the first party where the proton pump was. And being very good looking and everything, they attracted a bunch of hydrogen fangirls who ran in through the proton pumps. Except they were very mean and decided they wanted to dump them after sending them into the inner thylakoid space. Next, they decided that they were hungry, and they decided to move on into the next party, the photosystem one. But one of Edward's friends was really tired and decided to go back to his apartment to sleep. Then Edward and his friend met Bella the hydrogen atom, and they decided to go into a taxi NADP+, which was converted into NADPH, and they decided they wanted to go to the carnival to play. Meanwhile, the hydrogen fangirls were very upset that their idol dumped them, so then they started to throw a fit. Except then they went into an exit made only for them, called the ATP synthase. As they went through, they converted ADP into ATP. And then they were still very mad at Bella for stealing the person they liked, so they jumped into the limo, and they decided to chase after them to the carnival. Meanwhile, at the carnival, they saw a roller coaster that they really liked. It was a 6x6 roller coaster, and 5x6 of them were already filled, except there were 6 carbon werewolves who refused to let them on unless they gave them all their energy. Since they really wanted to go, they gave the 6 carbons all their energy, and they went onto the ride, filling all 6x6 spaces. But then the roller coaster was way too heavy, so then it cracked in half, and was split into 12 carbon rows. Later, the roller coaster started going faster and faster until 2 of the rows went flying away, but later they were found and converted into glucose. The remaining 10x3 molecules rearranged themselves back into 5x6 rows and waited for the next Edward and Bella to come along to start the cycle all over again, while the taxi and the limo went back to their stations and waited for the next people to come along.